long been said the pipe organ is the king of instruments.
They are marvels of engineering.
The pipe organ is a machine and it has all these moving parts.
There are literally hundreds of pipes, can be thousands of pipes.
It's the largest instrument ever made.
You don't get any of these kinds of sounds on any other instrument.
It's an incredible instrument in the range of color and tonality and sound.
It's an entire orchestra in one instrument.
It's a sound that's kind of otherworldly. It rumbles, you can feel it.
And there's nothing quite like the experience of all that mass of air vibrating because the pipes of that thrilling instrument are doing their work in making sound.
In places like Philadelphia, perhaps a third to a half of the pipe organs that were playable and usable a generation ago are not available now. Playing and preserving was developed by partners to really bring new attention to sacred places and the fantastic pipe organs they often contain.
We are facing something of a crisis that I think actually parallels the larger issue facing American sacred places, which is that congregations have shrunk. The leadership is beset by pressures all around, shrinking membership and also shrinking resources.
Partners for Sacred Places is really the only national nonprofit that works with congregations and with their communities to make the most of these older buildings as assets for outreach and service and as a way to strengthen the larger community.
We have to celebrate and lift up these assets. We have to let people know that they're here. We have to help people understand that these incredible instruments are wonderful for music making and that they're a really important part of what makes a sacred place so wonderful. It's not just what we see with our eyes, but it's also what we hear. The first part was to get to 50 of these places and survey them in order to include that survey in a database that people would be able to access.
Secondly, we wanted to work with a smaller group of congregations and equip them to be better caretakers of their organs and to raise money for those organs in new ways. And then thirdly, do a series of performances which were hosted by St. Mary's Episcopal Church on the edge of the Penn campus, working with young musicians, classical musicians that are beginning their careers, together to do really fantastic performances, to invite the public to see these places and to appreciate the pipe organ as well as other musicians.
First thing I do is that I'm actually a trained organist, so I come in and look at the instrument from the organist's point of view. What condition it's in, I sit down at it, I listen to it, I look to see what condition the keys are in, does it turn on, is it noisy, there's a lot of air leaking in the instrument, the bellows leak, things like that. I'm looking for problems, what I'm going to be looking for once I go inside the instrument so I can identify where those problems may be and how serious they may be to fix.
We look at how the tuning's doing and the actual instrument that's here, maybe anything that's unique to it.
That's part of our job, is to identify instruments that are being lost or on the verge of being lost and finding out why.
We can then provide them with the instrument that would sort of bring the community back into the church and revitalize that area.
We worked with a sort of subset of the congregations we were able to survey and bring them together as a program cohort to receive training, technical assistance, and grant making in order to help them actually make repairs to their instruments.
We wanted to help them understand how they can articulate the value of their buildings, their pipe organs, and their place in the community, how they can be better stewards of their buildings and their pipe organs.
There was a wonderful turnout of people who were interested, who were involved, who were engaged.
It was very great that organists from all over the area got to sit down in one room and chat with each other and see what problems we had in common and see what things we were all struggling with.
We had 9 sacred places where we provided $190,000 worth of grants to support the restoration and repair of their instruments. That leveraged over $500,000 worth of repairs.
Our organ has always been a central part of our life. here because music is so central to who we are, and we have this jewel of an historic instrument.
The organ at St. Mary's, Hamilton Village, it's Aeolian Skinner Organ Company. Aeolian Skinner was one of the leading pipe organ builders in the world, really, and especially in America, having built a couple thousand organs, some of which are regarded as being some of the finest instruments that were ever built.
So it was wonderful to both call attention to the historic nature of our instrument and also to have the grant assistance in making it the best instrument that it can be.
And what we're doing is taking off all the old leather and all the other connective material and all the moving parts and cleaning them off and putting new leather in its place so that those mechanisms will work for decades to come. The second part is the pipe work. The pipes all get individually washed and any repairs made, and then they all go into the voicing room where they're all regulated and voiced to make sure that they sound correct. So the organ will have a sharper, cleaner sound, more in keeping with the original design.
Playing and Preserving was a project that partners wanted to do to really revitalize a space specifically that had a sacred organ in it. So Astral Artists was brought on board first. They have an amazing roster of professional musicians who are early in their careers. And Astral then in turn asked Play on Philly to be a partner in this also because we are so committed to really embedding ourselves in a community and creating musical communities around an orchestra. It was a natural fit that Astral and Play on Philly would then become partners in this community music making at a place like St. Mary's.
Students who are learning classical music, rising professionals in the discipline, and new audiences, families and friends of the students who are learning and also people in the neighborhood, all come together to celebrate making music in a fun, new way with a pipe organ in a wonderful historic sacred place.
Being at St. Mary's, this has been an opportunity for them to hear and see an organ at work. We had a really special opportunity when Greg Zellick showed them what was happening with the organ, and he was using his hands and his feet, and he had the special shoes on, and to kind of explore that up close and personal was definitely a first for our students.
It was so great to see how Greg was showing them how the stops work, and some of them were actually like pulling the stops. We had them go to the actual console to see what he does over there, and then he had them go over to the pipes and to hear what it sounds like coming out with the air flowing through these actual pipes. It was really great.
When I heard the organ, I suddenly just thought, wow, that's so beautiful, and I want to work more with it.
I was kind of blown away of the sound because I never heard one up close until a few months ago when I played with Mr. Tommy.
Especially for our young cellists, working with somebody like Tommy Mesa has been really eye-opening.
It was a really wonderful moment, the first mentoring visit. It was after an hour of working with the cello ensemble. At the end, I was able to play the prelude of the first Bach suite. A couple of them came up afterwards, and they were just like, that was magic. You seemed like a magician. That's an appreciation of the craft. That's the first step to maybe possibly doing that on your own in another field or maybe in a similar field.
Crystal Williams, who is one of the Astral artists, mezzo-soprano, came and worked with our students at the beginning of this week. It was the first mentoring visit in a series that she did with our students.
Just to see an orchestra full of all of these students of color and maestro, it really just made my heart burst almost, to see that. And so that just walking into the room was wonderful to see. And then also to just be surrounded by youth and to know that some of them want to go forward and do this in life. It's really encouraging and inspiring.
I just feel like I've gotten so far with music, and I think I want to continue to do this.
And it's wonderful to have it in a church or a more intimate space because more people feel welcome to come. At the Metropolitan Opera, my family went and they all got decked out and, had box seats for my debut. And, the tickets are hundreds of dollars. And then you have a space like this where it's free. And people can hear the music on the street and they just walk in. It's not about, how you look or what you're wearing. It's just, to share great music and a great experience for everyone.
I feel that that's a great place to where everyone can come out and really celebrate and encourage the children, because the church is an open door.
When I heard the pipe music play, I haven't heard that since I was a child. So to see that, and it sounds so beautiful, it's like something that I only see on TV. So it just brings more of a dynamic to what the students are doing.
We were very excited to be asked to host the Playing and Preserving concert series. Music is a huge part of our life here at St. Mary's. When we were asked to host the concert series and our organ was going to be featured, we were flattered, and I could not possibly say no.
They have a great setup here where the organ is actually projected onto a screen because the organ itself can't be moved, so you can't see what I'm doing. And I think that makes a huge difference to an audience to actually see what the organist is doing.
Greg Zellick is an amazing, accomplished organist. He just is a master and sounds absolutely lovely.
A lot of people don't know how wonderful the organ is. We were watching him use all 4 of his limbs. Pretty amazing. That just reminded me of how complicated playing the organ is. I'd love to see more of this type of concert. It's really enjoyable.
Greg Zellick is a wonderful player. I think he got the most out of this old lady who probably needs a refurb.
And I applaud the efforts that are being done to preserve and pay attention to these instruments.
We need to keep our history, and we need to do what we can to make these sacred places and these instruments perform for the people.
And the future of these organs are in real jeopardy.
They bring such warmth and light to the worship services. I can't emphasize how important they are to our communities.
They have worked with my church, which is First United Methodist Church of Germantown. So we have an organ, and so I'm pleased to see that they are continuing to do the fine work that they've done.
Looking at the information in the front of the church about the history of the organs and different things about the organs, from the 15th century until now, they're still around. So I think it should be preserved because people really don't get to hear it unless they're in a sacred space or a special place or happen to go down to Macy's.
I enjoy very much going to concerts in churches. I've been to dozens of them over the decades. It's a more communal feeling. There's a spiritual quality that emanates from the space itself and from the stained glass windows and the organ pipes and the feeling of the people being together. It's different from going to a concert in a concert hall.
I've had a wonderful experience this afternoon, and I'm just looking forward to more and more of that, with the play on Philly and with hearing the organ.
I just think that this collaboration among Play on Philly, Astral artists, and I call it the Save the Organs group is phenomenal.
A lot of people don't know about pipe organs. They don't know that they're here. So to have them restored and have people playing them and have concerts with them, it really just informs people of what they are, where they are, and lets them know that they're accessible, that they can hear them.
This is about bringing new audience members to listen to different performers and to different ensembles, and then they hear the organ for the first time, and hopefully they come away with a great understanding and appreciation for what it is that I do.
It's wonderful that this organization is identifying these instruments, seeking to preserve them, seeking to educate people about what they've got in their own house.
If people come for the first time and hear the organ played the right way, they're going to want to hear it again.
We need to get them in the door.
And Playing and Preserving has been an incredible asset to this cause.
The kind of work we're doing can help congregations understand the potential of these pipe organs, not just to accompany the worship performance, but be a way to connect with their community, invite the community in. And maybe they'll take an interest in helping us preserve this building and stay active in this community.
Sacred places, they need people to help them speak and help others see and appreciate what they have. And that's a big part of what Playing and Preserving has tried to do, is try to help congregations put the air into the pipes of their organs so that they can speak, so that we can help bring people into the space, help congregations learn to bring people into the space so that everyone can appreciate what they have.
We're hoping to do additional work expanding above and beyond what we've done before, and maybe even encouraging a kind of cluster of performances, maybe even a festival of performances with pipe organs and other musicians in the next couple of years. I think our other task is to kind of tell this story to other cities. So Philadelphia kind of was the pioneer. So can we talk to donors and pipe organ aficionados in Chicago or Houston or Los Angeles or New York and encourage them to do something similar?
These are the kinds of places where lives are changed and community is built. The historic pipe organ is the sound of that place, and that experience, which can be so meaningful and so transformative for people, that's the kind of thing that we hope Sacred Places will see more and more as crucial, and that they will celebrate their instrument and bring people into their sacred place to have that experience.